OK, let's focus on transfers, shall we? Dharma Sheth is back alongside me. OK, let's rattle through some of these stories. Noni Madueke, what's the latest on his future, Dharma?
This one is developing, David, because we were told that, interestingly, Brentford are unlikely to want to allow Wissa and Bryan Mbeumo to leave in the same transfer window. So if Tottenham or another club were to get their hands on Wissa, I just wonder if it will become increasingly difficult or problematic for Manchester United to try and get their hands on Bryan Mbeumo. As far as Wissa is concerned, he's got 1 year left on his contract, turns 29 in September. Tottenham Hotspur will probably think that they can get a reasonable deal given those parameters on his contract just now.
And I'm guessing United are keeping an eye on that situation whilst they continue to pursue Bryan Mbeumo. So where are we at with Bryan Mbeumo?
I think Manchester United will remain relaxed about their situation simply because I think there's a cautious optimism that they can strike a deal with Brentford for Mbeumo still. Like Arsenal and Gyökeres, United are discussing internally what they're going to do next. Their last bid was worth £62.5 million. It was £55 million up front, £7.5 million in performance-related add-ons. Now, overall, that is not too far away from what Brentford would want. We think that Brentford want around £65 million. However, it's going to be how that amount is going to be paid. So United would probably want to do that with performance-related add-ons in there, whereas Brentford, we think, want the majority, if not all, of that £65 million to be guaranteed, be it over 3 or 4 years. But they would want, at some stage, that £65 million to be paid by Manchester United. United are going to stay disciplined with this deal, as they are with most of their other transfers in this window. However, they do know that Bryan Mbeumo wants to come to Manchester United, and that could work in their favour when they're trying to do this deal. However, Brentford and their sporting director Phil Giles earlier on last month has actually told Sky Sports News that Mbeumo would be happy to stay at Brentford if this deal did not materialise.
£5 million. Brentford looking for upwards of £60 million. So they're not a million miles away. You'd imagine that a second offer, which we said last week on Sky Sports News was being prepared, will be a lot closer to what Brentford are looking for. Brian, it looks like it's going to be a Manchester United situation for Bryan Mbeumo.
Spurs' interest, just a spanner in the works, to quote Mr McAdam. Does Thomas Frank's arrival
don't quote me.
change that?
Well, let me just say, Spurs and Brentford have had very good negotiations over the last 10 days or so, and we've been reporting day after day on Thomas Frank's appointment at Tottenham Hotspur. That was never in doubt, and I'm sure people were bored of me saying it every day. But what I kept stressing was the delay. Well, not really a delay, it's probably the wrong word, but the coaches coming in, and they've taken some good coaches from Brentford. Now, you do wonder now what potential players Thomas Frank might fancy at Brentford, and does he want to take a number of players from Brentford? It is talking Nathan Collins, the defender who's been absolutely brilliant for them at Brentford. But in terms of Mbeumo, there have been initial discussions about a potential deal. They are interested in him. Antoine Semenyo is another player Spurs like as well. But at this stage of the window, they are just one of a number of top attacking players Spurs have been in discussions with. The encouragement Spurs have had, Jules, is the fact that Bryan Mbeumo and Thomas Frank have a brilliant